From CRI Simple Numbers, this is Profitability Playbook, the Simple Numbers Podcast, a podcast for those who champion market growth and anchor the nation's economy, small businesses, and entrepreneurs.
All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Simple Numbers Profitability Playbook podcast. And this is going to be a fun Christmas edition. And so the goal here for me and Brandon is to not get in trouble. I haven't yet, knock on wood, but we wanted to have a fun time doing this. And so I'm going to kick us off. We're going to do something fun. So I don't know if any of you have met Mike. If you've been on a call with us, he's been in on call. He's relatively new-ish consultant of ours, former stockbroker, good dude. Well, he got to run our all-hands huddle on Monday. We take turns doing that where we all run our huddle groups on Monday. And so he had some fun questions. So I'm going to play them with Brandon, okay? So this is going to be good, so get ready. We're going to loosen it up a little bit. And so if you're in the car driving or on your treadmill or anything, I want you to think of these really hard. Think of yourself because, man, I learned something about someone today, and I'll get on it. And I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in whatever.
What about me? Because I hadn't done this.
It's not Brandon was actually on my side. I came over, asked him some questions, and I was like, oh, thank God. My work brother here is good for me. All right, here it is. Let's just get this out of the way. Would you rather, Brandon, watch a horror movie or a Hallmark Christmas movie?
Horror movie.
Oh,
Easy.
Yeah, not even close. I mean, big city girl moves to small town, ex-boyfriend, same story repeated. Well, anyways, someone here who I will not name that disappointed me decided that they would go with the Hallmark movie and then proceeded to talk about how they watched that movie on Netflix. Now, I saw the previews, Hot Frosty. And I mean, Mike is over here laughing. I can hear. I can't believe it. He said it's Magic Mike, but Hallmark Christmas movie. I go, oh my gosh. I'm like, you watch this? And he's like, yeah, man. There's so many abs in it. I'm like, what is going on? What is happening in Huddle right now? But I'm hurt. I'm wounded after that answer. But Brandon, thank you, sir, for. Okay. Would you rather win 25K or your best friend win 100K?
Best friend 100.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't mind that. I chose the 25. I'll buy my best friend beers. Okay, please don't disappoint me on this one. Would you rather win Survivor or win The Bachelor, Bachelorette?
Survivor.
Yeah, me too, all day.
Yeah. Yeah, life skills involved there,
Oh, yeah, man, it's a badge of honor, dude. I mean, I probably wouldn't be that good picking normally, let alone picking amongst the group.
So here's the one to speak to a group of entrepreneurs, and they say, hey, this, our speaker, fun fact, won Survivor or won The Bachelor?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. I'm listening to the person who won Survivor. Yeah.
They're out there killing fish and naked and afraid or whatever they're doing out there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All day. Okay, here's a good one. Would you rather have your boss or your parents read your text messages?
Who are these text messages coming? Are these coming from you?
Yeah. Would you rather have your boss read my text messages or your parents read my text messages?
Oh, probably a boss. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll play it. I have a best friend from back home, and I would probably rather my parents read his text messages than it's like jail level.
See, I think if my parents read it, they may be reaching out to you to try to help you in some way. They're like, this guy needs help.
Yeah, I mean, everyone, I'll tell you what, I've called Brandon, and he's only ever answered it on speaker like one time. And I'm talking, I heard the phone pick up, and before I heard a word out of I could get a word out. He's like, you're on speaker, don't even say anything. I'm like,
my kids were with me.
I was just going to call and ask you if you were going to be in the office.
You just don't ever know what Mike's about to say. So just play it safe. Yeah.
Okay, last one. Would you rather have more time or more money. Agreed.
You can
Yeah.
you can make more
Well,
money, but you
hold
can't
up,
make more.
though. Hold up. What, like, how's that time though distributed? Because if you're like you're 90 and I get more time to be 92, no, man, you can just take me out. But if they're like you're 25 and you can stay 25 a little longer, then more time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you gotta tack it in there, because if I'm just get to be, more older and crusty, after I'm already old and crusty, I don't want to be. So
I'd like 6 more hours a day than everyone else. That
yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, absolutely. All right, okay, that was fun. All right, we kept it together there.
good deal. All right. So Mike and I were talking, like I said, kind of the Christmas edition of this. We're going to give some gifts to each other. And these are gifts that our clients give to us sometimes when we're on a call. And so they're questions, or somebody's looking for a little bit of navigation through an issue or what have you. And it just all of a sudden kind of gets sprung up on you in a call, which, by the way, we love. These are great. These are fun conversations to have as we're working with our clients. And so I'll kick us off. I'll ask Mike. I'll give Mike a gift here. So we're on a call, Mike. Client says, here's your gift. I've been approached to sell my business. What do you think I should do?
What do you want to do? No, but seriously,
That's not like a deal, Vaughn answer.
yeah, right, yeah. The first thing is, obviously, your client's going to revisit their goals and where they're at personally and professionally. But then the second thing is, if it comes down to a money thing, are you in that scenario where if you sell, it is life-changing money that you can then go do, start another business, what have you? Or is it amount of money where you could make easily if you just stayed in your business? We talked about getting a greater than 50% return on invested capital. And so is it good enough, really, is what it comes down to. And could you just continue to reinvest in your business and get a better return than you would if you took the value? So the value's got to be right. And so we got to have that discussion. If any of you read Simple Numbers 2.0, we have the replacement return calculation in there, things like that. And so after you evaluate where you're at, what you want to do, and listen, then there's some people who are like, listen, I don't like this business. I got an offer, I'm out. And
I will typically, if it's a serious inquiry, everybody inbox is full of brokers that are looking to sell their business or what have you. But if it's somewhat serious, many times it's worth going through part of the exercise. As I say, sooner or later, you're going to probably sell a business. So you don't want the first time you go to sell it to be your first rodeo. Now, don't allow it to become a distraction. And at the point you can tell, all right, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, let's move on. But it is a good exercise for folks to kind of go through and at least kind of test out the market and see what's out there and, how the game's played. So cool.
Yeah.
All right. I got another one for you.
all right.
Same kind of deal. I'm going to call the client. They give you this gift. Hey, Mike, by the way, I know we're going to look at all our numbers. We just lost our largest fill in the blank here, client, customer, distributor. So a significant revenue stream. So what do you tell them?
Well, the first thing I want to know is how long we got until that goes away, because sometimes they got maybe a 30, 60, 90-day notice. The next thing we got to figure out is what is coming in and what's there to potentially replace it. And then from there, it's, man, if we don't have if there's a significant amount of staff, overhead, resources generated to service that client, revenue stream, what have you, that's there, you have to begin to look at if it can't be replaced, how long do you want to hold on to all that? If you have the cash situation to do it.
Yeah, I typically, first thing is I flip over to the balance sheet and let's see how healthy we are. And if you don't have cash, if you don't have access to capital, man, that clock's ticking quick. You got to make some real changes pretty quickly. And, I think we all immediately kind of go, well, we can get that back. Well, let's be real about it. And, how quickly could we possibly replace that? And what was it, a profitable relationship? Mm-hmm. Sometimes I've seen clients, so we have the Simple Numbers, I guess you would say client 0 or client 1, cut out a significant revenue source for them, but it was because it wasn't profitable revenue. So you got to look and see is it profitable, and if so, how much capital do I have, and then I look to say, okay, if we're going to go after replacing, let's put a dollar amount on the amount of capital I'm willing to invest back into the business to replace this lost stream, and put that line in the sand. So that we don't, just 6-8 months later go, well, I'm trying to replace it. Let's make changes in the business and get profitable with what we have. All right, one more. All right, not two more. Let's do two more. So here's one of my favorite ones. Hey, Mike. So, we're wanting to grow the business. I was at a conference last week, bumped into this person who known for years, excellent BD/salesperson. They're the one.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, they're going to cost a little bit more than what we thought. What should we do?
Yeah. So for me, I'm asking discovery questions first in terms of, so let's get something straight. Is there great salespeople all over the place?
Right.
There are. But you got to know this. It's somehow how great they are depends on how well of a marketing engine you have, how well of a product you have, how of a reach you have. And you might meet the one who could sell it like crazy if you had in the line maybe marketing strategy that did it. But if I was with a client, they had no marketing whatsoever. I'm like, listen, this person ain't going to magically come in here and all of a sudden, poof, you guys sell. There has to be an alignment there. Right. That works. And so we have to have that discussion. The next discussion is that person from an affordability standpoint, do we have the bandwidth of what they could potentially bring in? Should they do? Because there's other questions. If they are real successful, do we have the bandwidth? There's several questions you got to ask there, but I always see people typically fall into, they're the one, they go hire them, and then there's no support for that person. And we end up saying, oh, they weren't the one. I made a bad hire. That's like the typical scenario that you run into. So I always like to see what is there for that person set up for success. Because a lot of these are small businesses, and a lot of them are not fully set up for a major sales apparatus to go be successful.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And, it's like the old investment commercials used to always say, past performance is not indicative of future results. So I want to have an extreme amount of clarity and understanding by both sides on what the expectations are. So I can't tell you the number of times that we've had a similar situation play out and it didn't work out. And you do the postmortem, and what you realize is I hired someone who's a great closer, but I needed someone who actually can drum up and generate, beat the bushes, get out and generate leads. And so you just had a misalignment of expectations there. And then as you mentioned, what type of return are we looking at? Are they too expensive relative to market and what you get? All right, last one here. This is one of my favorites. Hey, Mike. So we've got a little bit of capital. We've decided we're going to develop a software program.
Yeah.
You sound excited.
Yeah, no, I just know how this is going to go. And a lot of times again, back to the looking at the business, just because they have cash to do it doesn't mean they need to if the rest of the business isn't fully functioning properly before we do it. And so let's say you're at 4% profit. Yeah, you got some business rolling in, but you're not very profitable. You got some good cash. Maybe you get upfront money, or you may add a big transaction that came through and so you're humming along, like, now is the time. Now is the time to do it. And then they rush in sometimes to do it. Next thing we know, we've run out of money, the other operating the business. And then we go down the path of taking focus away from taking a 4% to 15%. And that's what we should have been doing all along.
Yeah.
Then the other side of it is, hey, I'm a great business at 15%. I'm generating good cash. Should I develop this software program? It's like, yes, then maybe that is the time. But what we got to do is make sure we dedicate the proper amount of resources and time to it to still make sure we're operating that 15% business well, because it is going to need to feed the software program. And we can't take our eyes off that, because oftentimes people get so focused on the software program that they tank the 15% business, right, generating great cash flow and net income. So, yeah, I wish it was that easy, but you got to look at those scenarios.
Well, my first thing is proceed with caution. it can be really good, but it can also be really dangerous to your business, as you mentioned. And most of the time, and our software client's going to love us for saying this, but most of the time it's going to cost you twice as much as you expected, and it's going to take twice as long. Because if there's one thing that typically developers struggle with understanding, it's the word finished. Good enough. Hey, this ain't going to be finished. Now, so as you're looking and talking to development firms, then, you need to have, once again, like this with the BD person, you got to have really clear expectations. And you can't be afraid to pull the plug if this thing starts to get sideways on you. If you're going to do it internally, you still likely need a third party to kind of validate and confirm what's being done is correct, can be passed on to someone else, and that you're getting, a decent return. So, we've heard all the horror stories of people who like, yeah, I got an internal developer. They're going to do it. It's going to cost me, $20K. And $200,000 later, they found out that they kept a developer employed for a year. They basically did very little. And what they did do, they screwed up. And so it's dicey. I do think the way that the labor market is going to play out over the next several years, we're going to have to look at things like automation, which is going to require software. But you've got to really, you got to handle it carefully and be really sharp and know when it's time to pivot and make a change. Once again, designate capital and determine, take that same approach that a VC would take if they were investing in your business. So most of the time a VC is going to come and let's just say they're going to invest 50 million into your business. Well, they're not writing you a check today for 50 million. They're going to write you a check today for maybe 10. And then once you show you've made some progress, guess what? You might get another 10 or 15. And then once you've made progress, another 10 or 15. And you kind of do the same approach when it comes to those types of investments. Earmark how much I'm going to put to get it going. All right, we should be at this point based on this spend. Are we anywhere close? Because I'd much rather cut the cord, a few grand into it than a few $100,000 into it. So, but like I said, those are kind of some gifts that we get on calls that are just a handful, and love them. I mean, it's a blast whenever we get to talk about some of those things, because there's a chance we've had a client who's went down that road, and sometimes it's worked out great. We can share, hey, here's the success story behind it, or it didn't go too well, and here's the challenges you're going to face. So a few Christmas gifts for you here.
All right. Hey, let's end on this. Favorite Christmas movie? What is it?
This is a gimme. The same for you. This, I don't believe there's ever been a better Christmas movie made. And
I've watched that thing 4 million times. I will watch it 4 million times this December.
Every time.
And I feel like I learned something new every time.
Every time.
That's funny.
And the favorite character has to be who?
It's Cousin Eddie.
Of course.
I mean,
yeah.
I was holding out for a management position. Whoever's been to a presentation of ours, when we talk about management labor, we have a line in there that says no Cousin Eddie positions, because in the movie, what does he say, Brandon?
So Clark's talking to his wife to see if Eddie has found a job. And Clark's wife has spoken to Eddie's wife, and she says no. Based on what his wife said, he's holding out for a management position. So imagine Cousin Eddie as a manager. That would be, it'd be a lot of fun in some cases. I believe HR would have a full-time job, a lot of job security if Eddie's a manager.
Yeah. Hey, lots of good business references in there. We got year-end Christmas bonuses get taken away. Man, that's messed up.
When he won't go down on the sled, and he's talking about how his hair wouldn't part right, because he says over here, and he bangs on the head. He goes, "There's nothing, but over here, it's right here. My hair just."
Dude, the sled part is my favorite part, when he just zooms down and it's like a ball of flame, and you get to see the old Walmarts in that too. I was showing the kids that the other day. I was like, check out Walmart there. Look what it looks like. Walmart back. I remember the first time I saw Walmart, I was in West Virginia. I played baseball. I got a scholarship and played baseball in college, and I was in West Virginia my freshman year. And I remember my buddy going, he was from West Virginia, lived on a road called Bills Creek, I remember. And he was from the woods, man. Every bit of West Virginia this guy was. He goes, man, we got to go over to Walmart. I go, where are we going? Because I was from Northwest PA. And he said, we're going to Walmart. And I'm like, oh, what's that? And he goes, what? Walmart, he goes, man, if Walmart ain't gotten it, you ain't needing it.
Amen. Hey, I'll tell you, the small town I grew up in, we had a Walmart. We got it when I was like in 2nd or 3rd grade. Get this, Walmart left. Yeah, they closed it. They shut down. By the time I was in high school, they had closed Walmart. Now, you tell you about a town that's got some struggles.
Yeah.
When Walmart up and leaves, you got problems. I mean, it's tough. It's rough. So,
wow. Yeah. I mean, that would have been when I went to that Walmart, when we went there, like kids were there hanging out. It was like the mall.
oh yeah.
I mean, this is back in 2000, right? I mean, that's how old I am, I guess. But this is back in 2000, and freaking kids. I'm walking in there, and I'm like, this place is the place. It had a little arcade section at the time. Like,
Was it one that has like a Burger King or a McDonald's in it?
yeah,
Remember those?
yeah. They got Subways in there now. They want a little healthier. Man. All right, everybody, we'll stop this nonsense. Okay, hey, y'all have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll be back. Stay safe. For Brandon, this is Mike. Y'all have a good one.
See y'all.
If you want to know more about driving sustainable profitability for your business, or are interested in learning more about CRI Simple Numbers, please visit our website at simplenumberscri.com. Thanks for listening to this episode of Profitability Playbook, the Simple Numbers Podcast. You can subscribe to Profitability Playbook on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you prefer to listen to podcasts. If you liked what you heard today, please leave us a review. The views expressed on Profitability Playbook, the Simple Numbers Podcast, are those of the presenter and moderator and do not necessarily reflect the views of CRI Simple Numbers or the CRI family of companies. This podcast is intended for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended to replace professional advice received directly. Consult with your CRI Simple Numbers advisor or another trusted professional if you have questions about your specific situation.